Here. Oh, where is mine? That's already open. Okay, perfect. So you're in the top right, and then I'm gonna be in the bottom right.
Okay.
All right, good to go.
Okay. Well, good morning, Landon. How are you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
Great. League, first of all, we apologize for I believe it's been a 2 week delay on the last one. We have not been able to get together to do a video. Promised to do one at least once a week. We are actually going to do another one. It will be out not before the 6:30 kickoff on Sunday, because don't forget we do have a 6:30 kickoff. But we will either be doing one. Well, we'll have one out before the 10 o'clock games on Sunday. So, with that said, um, how did you like yesterday's action? Let's just jump right in.
I honestly loved it. I feel like everyone was active. Everyone was making trades, and that's what I want to see. That's what I've been waiting
Correct.
for.
And you said everyone's making trades, and it doesn't necessarily mean everyone made one, but via the text, um, there was a lot of trades sent out. I know I still have two original offers out and a counter. This morning, I think you said you had some out. How many do you have out?
Zero. They all got rejected, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry to put you on the spot right there. So, waivers last night. We were busy. I want to ask you a question, get your input. Um, in another league that I'm in, don't really like to do this, talk about other leagues, but in another league that I'm in, I sent a trade offer. It was countered with Brian Thomas Jr., um, Tajay Spears, and Javante Williams for Travis Etienne. I accepted. Commissioner vetoed it. I asked why, and he said because the other owner that sent me the offer got cold feet and decided to change his mind. What are your thoughts on something like that? What are your thoughts on vetoes first, and then that situation?
Honestly, I don't like vetoes, and especially if he's going to be the one that sends it. I mean, did you rip him off? Yes, but he sent it, and at the end of the day, I feel like if I was someone else in that league, I probably would have wanted a veto with how lopsided I thought it was. But obviously, we're not involved, or I'm not involved in that league. And if I were in your shoes, I would have been upset with a veto. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Travis Etienne actually outscored all three of those players combined
Oh,
over this
he
past
did. So
weekend.
I'm glad ultimately that it was vetoed,
Yeah,
but I couldn't have been mad if the trade went through. It's just, I don't know.
correct.
It rubbed me wrong that no one even told me, reached out to me, stuff like that. So, yesterday, we're talking about trades in our league, and we had, well, personally, I made two. Ian made one. You were on the verge of making some. Like, again, I have a couple of offers out. Um, I woke up yesterday morning and I needed help. Sean needed help. Two of three bottom teams, and Jason started the activity off with posting a text in the chat. Hey, this guy is available, or I would like to make a trade 1v1. Player swap for one position for another position. That's kicked off a very active day in our text chain. Um you last night then sent out a poll. Do you have those results on that poll before I get into that?
I think it's best to wait until Saturday to do that, or
Okay.
Friday night, just due to the fact that we only have four responses out of 10.
Okay. So when you guys are listening, please look for I believe it's an email. Was it
The
sent via
Google
email?
form in our text chat, and I
Okay.
resent it this morning too.
Okay, perfect. So look for Landon's message with a poll on ranking the 10 teams. Ranking them includes their record, their current record, their entire roster, including their bench. Can Are they maximizing their bench? Just look at everything and rank the teams. And Landon and I will go over. Landon will go over it since he started that conversation, and I'll just be commenting on what he discusses on the next video. So look for that Sunday morning, but by the 10 o'clock kickoffs. Waivers last night were extremely busy. Landon, I want to say we're not going to talk about all the waivers,
Yeah.
but you picked up Miller last night, and he was. I went back and forth with him and Rashad White. Um, let's talk about Miller, and he's getting return yards. Who Jason announced the other night, that he noticed the return yards can be valuable. He's getting return yards. He looks like he's starting to take over some valuable touches for Kamara. And I ultimately decided to put Miller as my second option. How long do you think, and do you think Miller takes over a bigger chunk? What was your main goal of picking him up? And just hit on Miller and Kamara in this discussion.
I just ultimately think it comes down to the Saints being 0-4. And Kendre has always had the talent. He just doesn't have the ability to stay on the field. So I'm picking him up as a home run swing with the thought process of Alvin Kamara will be getting traded by week 8. And then that'll allow me to have a starting RB as long as he's healthy for the long run.
And that was so, as you guys notice, this weekend, and I got lucky with one of my final move, I think, adding and dropping players as games are starting. We talked about this briefly in video 1 or 2, but we talked about this briefly that you need to remain active on your waivers. Um, I dropped. I think it was, I can't remember who I dropped, but picked up Woody Marks. Woody Marks then all of a sudden gets his breakout game, appears to have taken over from Nick Chubb. These are why you guys need to stay active. Uh, Miller was a guy that I wanted to pick up on Sunday. Love the pickup that you did. Kind of wish I would have kept him as my number one claim because, well, Bucky's a stud and White's not going to get more than what Bucky allows. I know that might sound weird, but it's a fact. And Kendry Miller is his I think rise in success is tied to the new head coach. Dennis Allen must have hated Miller because a year 3 breakout for a running back just seems kind of odd. But it was discussed that he had talent, and now that he's getting the opportunity, the talent is starting to show. Um, any key matchups this week, Landon, that you want to discuss with the league? Again, we're going to have another one coming out this weekend, so let's just try to some key matchups or some key players that you want to watch this week. If we give some tips on people to pick up and add drop some players, well, so be it. But activity makes a league better. So go on and talk about a key matchup or some key players that you might be keeping your eye on.
I mean, to hit on a key player, I just picked up Sean Tucker. Unfortunately, Bucky was seen in a walking boot and using crutches this morning. Obviously, that hurts me, but as a strong backup, I feel like Sean Tucker can provide more than Rashad White as long as they're in a positive game script. Unfortunately, don't think that's going to be this. Well, fortunately, as a Seahawks fan, I don't think that's going to be this week. I think they'll be in a negative game script, especially with our defense. So that'll favor Rashad White a little bit more than Sean Tucker. But if they do end up in, if for some reason this injury lasts more than a week, then I feel like Sean Tucker could find himself in a valuable role, especially as a kick returner.
So thank you for bringing up Bucky. I knew you
Yeah.
were looking to move him, so I wasn't going to throw you under the bus, but yes, that's why I picked up Rashad White. And breaking news on it says, well, I think you probably already saw this one. As we're talking, it discusses the boot. That was from Sleeper. It seems like Sleeper is the third or fourth person that usually announces something, and it just popped up on my phone. So there goes Bucky in a boot. That does not, and people, I'm guessing, was Bucky part of your trade offers?
Bucky was part of my trade offers. I was trying to package him and Nico together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. Uh, well, a nice package.
Yeah.
No Diddy, as you would say. Um, so I picked up Rashad White ultimately again, like you said. So if because I did see something last night where it could be a 2 to 3 game absence for Bucky if it is what is being uh, Rob actually just said done in our text group. I don't know if that means a trade offer was
That
done or
that's in
was
response to our
that
power rankings.
okay, cool. So it's good. We're starting to see some things, and it's nice when we get these breaking things as we're recording because then it just, I don't know, it just seems like more real time. But Seahawks, you briefly discussed the Seahawks defense. Stats that I've been sharing with you and your brother Dylan this week. We knew Mike McDonald was going to have an effect on the Seahawks defense. Last year, I believe it was the last 7 games or so. It was, and Ian saying, "I'm happy you did not accept the trade." That would have been funny. It's nice to see these texts popping up, but they had a top 10 unit to end the season. Seahawks defense this year, all stats pushed to a top 5. A lot of them are pushing to a top 2. Offense, we are top 6, I believe. Rushing offense, we are a top 18. We need to get to a top 10 rushing offense for 2 reasons. I just traded for Ken Walker yesterday, and the rushing attack just needs to improve to keep our offense honest and keep defenses honest against our offense. Bucks defense has some key players were injured late in that game, so that's unfortunate for them, but great for the Seahawks offense. Um, the 7:30 or 6:30 a.m. game for us is going to be Cleveland and is it Detroit this week?
For the 6:30 game?
Yes.
No, I think
That's Minnesota,
it's still
and
Minnesota,
I think
and
someone stole
I
it.
think the Panthers, or no, the Titan,
Let's see.
Minnesota and Cleveland. So Dylan Gabriel.
So it is Cleveland. Okay, so Minnesota and Cleveland. Um, Quinshaw Junkins was put into a deal yesterday with Ian. And I gave Ian Quinshaw. I got Cam Scatabo and Romeo Dobbs, or Romeo
Roma
Odunze.
Dunze.
Roma Dunze. And Judkins, I did not want to move. I actually picked him up when it was announced that he should be signing within the week in a couple leagues. And I made the comment that I will pick him up and flip him. And I believe you and I specifically spoke about Ian. And I actually did flip him to Ian. It was a tough choice, but Ian gave a solid offer. And Ian, I do want to say on here, your offers have really improved, at least until last night when you sent a offer to try to get Caleb and Rome back from me, and that was quickly rejected. But your offers this year have really improved, and thank you. It has made it. It's been nice because I think you and I have had 3 or 4 trades. Wow, Cardinals trade Benson status in question. Saw something earlier on Twitter that it looked like His last play, he was tackled on a positive run. Offensive lineman fell on him, and he was not seen the rest of the game. DeMarcado came in, and so if you need a running back, run to the waivers and pick him up. But there you go. Uh, Thoughts on Benson right now? Because I know Sean is banking on wins to get out of that last place, and he has Benson. What are your thoughts on this breaking news?
I saw the same clip you saw, and I wanted to pick up Amari, but I don't really have anyone to drop, so I did not do it. But I just think Sean right now is in a situation where it is going to be very difficult for him to come back. Ultimately, starting Rashid Shaheed, R.J. Harvey, Trey Benson, Jaden Higgins, it's not looking great. But we'll get more into depth on that in the next episode.
Okay, so you briefly spoke on Sean's roster, um, and you said you wanted to pick up Amari DiMarcardo, or however you say it. Is that am I pronouncing it correctly?
DeMercado.
So, and you said it's tough because you don't have anyone to drop. Thoughts on the five bench spots so far this year?
It's making everything super tough. Super
It it,
tough.
it does, and it's added talent to the waivers, which makes it nice, but it has made it extremely tough to uh, drop players to make a swing. I'm going to say it again. Rob, use your IR spots. You've got Joe Mixon and you've got someone else that I believe can go to IR. Put them on IR. Pick up two spots. It maximizes your talent on your roster. I don't know if you're new to Yahoo or if you're new to IR spots, but click on the player, the position, like you're going to set your lineup, and IR will pop up as a option for Mixon and your other player. Put them in there. Gives you two free players to roster. You need to maximize these guys. Your starting lineup is solid. I was completely wrong. I owe you an apology. Uh, you are top three right now. I will briefly go in my opinion, team wise. I would have put you top one or two, but the two teams you lost to, Landon and Ian, well, actually, I think you only lost to one of them. No, you did lose to
Lost to
both,
both.
but you were a high enough score, so you got one loss and one win that week. So that's why you only have two losses. But
Cage, you have to
maximize those
accept that.
roster spots. Um, what are your thoughts so far going into this year with now the being able to roster more than two quarterbacks?
I mean, with the five bench spots, it's not really. I feel like this league doesn't take Superflex as seriously as others, but right now I'm currently holding on to three quarterbacks, which is why I no longer have a defense on my roster. I'll wait until Sunday morning to pick one up probably, but depending on Bucky's injury, it could be I could just drop Sean Tucker if Bucky is okay because at the same time, yes, I'm a little bit worried about Bucky's health, but at this he scored a 70-yard touchdown right after he got injured or supposedly on the play that he got injured. So I just feel as if I'm not too concerned. Yes, I know they can give him a shot, but if Bucky's hurt, I'm able to keep Sean Tucker, and then I'll have to find someone else to drop, probably Kenneth Gainwell. And then if Bucky isn't hurt, I'll just drop Sean Tucker and then pick up a new defense. But I, it's hard because I'm carrying three quarterbacks right now.
It is tough. So as you were speaking, I pulled up Bucky Irving. Seattle this week on the road, then San Francisco, then Detroit, then New Orleans, and then week 9 is their bye. If there is something wrong with him, and maybe this explains why it could be a 2 to 3 week, injury. Um, Maybe they're looking at because Tampa Bay, as of right now, leading their division, definite playoff contender, and if they get healthy, they're a contender, a true contender, as long as they can continue getting healthy. So maybe they take Bucky and put him on the shelf, not IR, but on the shelf for a couple of weeks. And then if he starts seeing improvement, bring him back after the bye because then it's New England, Buffalo, Rams, Arizona, New Orleans, Atlanta, Carolina, Miami. Those last three, four, well, 14, 15, 16, 17, and then week 18, it's a division game. Those are going to be important games for a push. So Bucky is so important to that offense. You could possibly see him being shelved for a little bit just to get uh, healthy. And they do have, and again, uh, I think Tucker would probably jump into the Bucky role, and White would stay with the White role. So
Yes.
yes, and it's funny because you mentioned
And is that
uh,
Tyquan Thornton?
the 70-yard run, and then Ian jumps in right after it. And I know he didn't hear you because he's not on here, unless we go with what your mindset says when we were at the Kings game a couple of years ago, and you said, "Oh, I got the update that he hits this shot," and of course he hit it. And I said, "Wow, did you really?" And of course I'm like, "Duh." You didn't get an update because we're at the game. And everybody probably saw that Detroit Lions fan doing the same thing that you sent me that video. So it was kind of funny. But so Ian talking about what you mentioned with the
I think
adrenaline
Woody's going to
is
start over
a
Chubb. So are
huge
there any other
thing. So it's
options?
just funny that we are talking about this and we're seeing these updates. I like doing these videos and seeing this action. This league is a lot more active than it has ever been. And it's a plus. It's not a bunch of crap talking. It's positive talking. There is crap talking, but it's nothing personal. So I like it. What do you want to hit on now?
I think that's good for the time being. I mean, we could give what the actual standings are right now, and then we can on Sunday morning's episode we can have a guest, and then they can come on, they can talk a little bit, and then we can actually do what our league mates think of our standings.
Okay. Do that. I'll pick the Division One, and then you go over Division Two.
That
Okay.
sounds good.
So Division One, Rob, and Rob, the to touch back on what we were originally talking about, your IR, it's Brandon Ayuk and Joe Mixon. Put them on IR. So Rob at 6-2, 1,018 points. So strong team, just needs some depth because he's going to have some buys coming up. Butt fumble, Oscar 4-4, and Big Ball Beavers 4-4 also. I do not believe they've played each other head to head, but Butt Fumble has 933 points, and Mark has 869 points. So about a 70-point differential between second and third. And then Dylan at 3-5 with 881. Sean last place overall in the league, but last place in Division One with 1-7 record, scored 774 points. That right now, there's really no question about the powerhouse in that it's top heavy in that division. So now to you for Division Two.
Yes. Now Division Two. First place we have Ian, who's 7-1, 2-0 in division. Only 940 points scored, and has the least amount of points scored against him at 729. I think the biggest thing with this division compared to the other division are the moves that have been done. Even Jason is only behind one team in Division One in terms of moves at 8, and with Ian he's at 35 moves done on the season. I'm in second at 6-2, 1-1 against division. Unfortunately, did lose to Ian, and I have scored 1,073 points and have 948 against me. I have done 26 moves. Nate is in third of our division at 4-4, 969 points scored, 871 against, with 12 moves done. Jason is is fourth in our division at 3-5, 1-1 against division, 811 points with 996 against. Unfortunately, he does have the most amount of points scored against him, so he's been a little bit unlucky. But he's done 8 moves, and then you are in fifth at 2-6, 0-2 in division, 881 points scored, 966 against, with 36 moves done at the highest in the league.
So it's funny you bring, and we didn't even discuss this beforehand. So we're just going, we're just talking about this live. Last night, when I was going through my waivers, I noticed you, Ian, and I were the top three in waivers moved. No one else had more than nine. Well, this morning now there are two teams that are over nine. So it is, uh, and you mentioned the Division One. So there was some action last night. But Division One, they have 20 moves total as a division. We have three teams with more than that, and a fourth team, Nate's, with 12 moves. So between Nate and Jason, they have 20 moves, which is the same as Division One. You have to stay active. Another thing I went on and I noticed last night, I have three players on my roster that I drafted. Yes, you said my team sucked, so maybe I did suck at drafting. But I traded away three players also. So there's six of my 15, nine players, whatever. They're in waivers. Some people own some of them, some don't, so whatever. But the activity is huge. Good hitting on that. Anything else you want to touch on?
I think that's good. We can probably save the rest and like the in-depth descriptions going to Sunday mornings.
Perfect. Okay. Well, that was fun. Again, we will have. I want to ask this question before we jump off. We're going to find out who watched it all the way through, and we're going to find out who watched it. But if anyone wants to jump on the call, we use Discord. And on Saturday it'll be Friday night or Sunday morning, probably about 7:30. If anybody wants to jump on the call, then and we will leave it open. If everybody wants to jump on, that'd be kind of fun.
That would be cool. Everyone can discuss their own matchups, and it doesn't have to be early that